The transport ship Horizon's Edge moved through deep space like a whale swimming through an endless ocean. Inside its metal walls, 3,000 people slept in suspended animation pods, dreaming of their new home on a distant planet. Only the crew remained awake, watching over the sleepers and keeping the ship on course. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair, staring at the star charts on the main screen. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. This was his 15th colony mission, and he knew every sound the ship made, every vibration that traveled through the deck plates. 20 more days and they would reach Kepler 442b. 20 more days and his job would be done. Lieutenant Amy Chen worked at the navigation console, her fingers moving across the controls with practiced ease. She had been Morrison's first officer for 3 years now, and they worked together like a well-oiled machine. The night shift was always quiet, peaceful even. Just the hum of the engines and the soft beeping of the computer systems. That peace shattered in an instant. The ship's alarm screamed to life. Red lights flooded the bridge. Morrison jumped from his chair as the entire vessel shook violently. Coffee cups flew across the room. Papers scattered like frightened birds. What hit us? Morrison shouted over the noise. Amy's hands flew across her console. Her face went pale. Unknown vessel, Captain. It just appeared on our sensors. No warning at all. Shields up. Send a distress signal now. The ship shook again, harder this time. Sparks exploded from one of the control panels. The smell of burning plastic filled the air. Morrison grabbed the arms of his chair to keep from falling. Shields are down, Amy reported, her voice tight with fear. Hull breach on deck 7. The distress signal is away, but I don't know if anyone will receive it in time. The main screen flickered and changed. Morrison felt his blood turn to ice. The thing on the screen was not a ship from any human colony. It was massive, dark, and covered in what looked like organic armor. It reminded him of a deep-sea predator, all sharp edges and cruel purpose. They're hailing us, Amy said. Put it through. The screen changed again. Morrison had seen many alien species since humanity had reached the stars. He had met the peaceful Centaurians, the curious Deneb traders, even the proud Syrians, but nothing had prepared him for what he saw now. The creature that filled the screen stood nearly 9 feet tall. Its body was covered in dark armored plates that looked like they had grown naturally from its skin. 6 eyes glowed red in the darkness. Its mouth was filled with teeth designed for ripping and tearing. 2 massive arms ended in claws that could tear through steel. This was a creature born to kill. I am Commander Krell of the Valth Empire, the alien said. Its voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. Your vessel has entered our hunting territory. You are now property of the Valth. Prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in immediate execution. Morrison felt anger replace his fear. This is a civilian transport. We have women and children aboard. We're not soldiers. We're just colonists trying to reach a new home. Krell made a sound that might have been laughter. That makes you perfect prey. The weak and soft ones provide the best sport. You will do nicely for the upcoming games. The connection cut off. Morrison turned to Amy. Wake everyone up. Get the security teams armed. Seal off the sections with the colonists. We need to protect them. Amy nodded and started giving orders. Throughout the ship, alarms rang out. The colonists began waking from their long sleep, confused and frightened. Security Chief Ryan Cooper rushed to the armory with his team, grabbing every weapon they had. It was not much. Civilian ships were not built for war. The Valth boarding pods hit the ship like hammers. Metal screamed as the alien craft tore through the hull. Atmosphere vented into space before emergency bulkheads slammed shut. Morrison watched the security cameras, his heart sinking with every passing second. The Valth came through the breaches like a flood of nightmares. They moved fast, faster than anything that large should move. Ryan Cooper and his security team met them in Corridor 5. The humans opened fire with everything they had. It was not enough. The Valth shrugged off the bullets like rain. Their armored skin deflected most of the shots. The few that penetrated did not seem to slow them down. One Valth warrior grabbed a security guard and threw him 50 feet down the corridor. Another slashed with its claws, cutting through armor and flesh like paper. Ryan Cooper fought like a man possessed. He emptied his rifle into one Valth, aiming for the joints in its armor. The creature finally went down, dark blood pooling on the deck. But for every Valth that fell, 5 more came behind it. The security team was overwhelmed in minutes. Morrison watched it all happen on the screens. He felt helpless, useless. This was his ship, his people, and he could do nothing to save them. The Valth reached the suspended animation chambers. They began pulling colonists from their pods, still groggy and confused. Dr. Lisa Monroe, a xenobiologist who had been traveling to study the New World's ecosystem, tried to fight back. A Valth warrior grabbed her by the arm and dragged her away. Engineer Ben Carter tried to help her and was knocked unconscious with a casual backhand. Teacher Claire Davis hugged her students close, trying to shield them with her body. The Valth simply pulled them all from her arms. She screamed and fought, but it made no difference. The aliens were too strong, too fast, too many. Within an hour, the Valth had captured 800 humans. They herded them like cattle into the boarding pods. Morrison tried to reach them, tried to fight his way through, but Valth warriors blocked every corridor. He was forced to watch as his people were taken away. Commander Krell appeared on the screen one final time. Your species is unknown to us. That makes you valuable. We will test you on Valdris Prime. If you prove entertaining, we may capture more of your kind. Consider this an honor. Few species are chosen for the great hunts. The Valth ships detached from the horizon's edge. Morrison watched them disappear into the darkness of space, taking his people with them. The ship was a wreck. Life support was failing on half the decks. The engines were barely functioning. But they were alive. Some of them were still alive. Amy Chen stood beside him, tears running down her face. What do we do now, Captain? Morrison stared at the empty space where the Valth ships had been. His hands clenched into fists. We survive. We get this ship working again. We make sure that distress signal reaches Earth. And we pray that someone gets to our people before it is too late. He did not say what they were both thinking. The Valth had made a terrible mistake. They had attacked humans. And if there was one thing humanity was good at, it was revenge. The aliens would learn that lesson soon enough. In the distance, the Valth ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, carrying their prey to the hunting grounds. They had done this 1,000 times before with 100 different species. None had ever survived. None had ever fought back. But the Valth had never hunted humans before. The planet Valdris Prime looked beautiful from orbit. Green forests stretched as far as the eye could see. Blue rivers cut through valleys. Mountains rose toward purple skies. It looked like paradise. Dr. Lisa Monroe knew better. She had spent the 3-day journey in the Valth cargo hold studying their captors. This was not paradise. This was a killing ground. The 800 human prisoners huddled together in the landing zone. Most were still in shock. Many were injured from the rough transport. Some were crying. Others just stared at nothing, their minds trying to process what had happened to them. Commander Krell stood before them, his massive form casting a long shadow in the morning light. Behind him, dozens of Valth warriors watched with their glowing red eyes. Lisa could see the hunger in those eyes. These creatures lived to hunt. It was not just about survival for them. It was entertainment. Welcome to Valdris Prime, Krell announced, his voice booming across the clearing. This world has tested 147 species before you. None have survived. You have been chosen for the honor of our greatest hunt. The rules are simple. You run, we chase. If you survive 14 days, you win your freedom. No prey has ever lasted more than 12 days. An older man named George pushed through the crowd. He was a farmer planning to grow crops on the new colony. This is insane. You cannot just hunt people. We are intelligent beings. We have families. We have rights. Krell looked down at the man like he was an interesting insect. You have no rights here. You are prey. That is all you will ever be. He gestured to the forest. You have 1 day head start. Use it wisely. When the sun rises tomorrow, the hunt begins. The Valth warriors activated devices on their arms. Collars appeared around each human's neck. Lisa touched hers and felt a shock run through her fingers. The collar was made of some kind of energy field. She had never seen technology like this before. The collars track your location, Krell explained. They also ensure you cannot leave the hunting zone. Try to remove them or cross the boundary, and they will kill you instantly. Consider them a gift. They make the hunt more interesting. The Valth left them there alone in the clearing. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then a baby started crying and the spell broke. People began talking all at once. Some wanted to run immediately. Others wanted to fight. Most just wanted to go home. Ryan Cooper climbed onto a large rock so everyone could see him. The former Marine drill instructor had survived the attack on the ship with a broken arm and 3 cracked ribs. He looked like hell, but his voice was strong and clear. "Listen up," he shouted. "I know you are scared. I am scared too, but fear will not save us. We need to work together if we want to survive." "You heard what that monster said," a woman called out. "No species has survived before. What chance do we have?" Ryan pointed at her. "We have the only chance that matters. The chance to try. Those aliens think we are weak. They think we will just roll over and die. Let us prove them wrong." Lisa stepped forward. "He is right. I studied the Valth during the trip here. They are predators, yes, but they have weaknesses. They rely on brute strength and natural weapons. They do not use tools effectively. They see technology as beneath them. That gives us an advantage." Ben Carter, the engineer, raised his good hand. "If you can tell me how these collars work, maybe I can find a way to disable them." "Not yet," Lisa said. "First we need to survive. Then we figure out how to fight back." They split into groups. Ryan organized the able-bodied adults into scout teams. Lisa took charge of analyzing the environment and finding safe areas. Claire Davis, the teacher, looked after the children and elderly. Ben started collecting anything that could be used as a tool or weapon. The planet was hostile in ways that went beyond the Valth. The forest was filled with creatures that saw humans as food. Vines with poisonous thorns grew everywhere. The water in most streams would make them sick. Lisa identified edible plants and safe water sources, but it was slow work. They found a cave system hidden behind a waterfall. It was perfect. Multiple exits, easy to defend, hard to spot from outside. They spent the rest of the day moving everyone inside and setting up a basic camp. Ryan posted guards at every entrance. They had no weapons except sharpened sticks and rocks, but it was better than nothing. Night fell on Valdris Prime. Strange sounds echoed through the forest. Things with too many legs and too many eyes crawled through the undergrowth. The humans huddled in their cave, trying to rest before the hunt began. Lisa could not sleep. She sat at the cave entrance, watching the alien stars. Ben sat down beside her, wincing at the pain from his injuries. "Do you think we have any chance at all?" he asked quietly. Lisa was silent for a long moment. "The Valth are apex predators from a world where strength means everything. They evolved to be perfect hunters. But so did we. We do not have claws or armor. No, we have something better. We have brains. We have opposable thumbs. We can use tools. Every species the Valth hunted before probably relied on natural defenses. Speed, camouflage, poison. But humans? We conquered Earth not because we were the strongest. We did it because we were smart enough to make weapons. We were persistent enough to track prey for days. We were social enough to hunt in coordinated groups." Ben managed a small smile. "So you are saying we are also apex predators?" "Exactly. The Valth do not know that yet. They think we are soft and weak because we do not have natural weapons. They are about to learn a very hard lesson." The sun rose on the second day. The humans waited in their cave, tense and ready. In the distance, they heard a horn blast. The hunt had begun. The first Valth hunting party entered the forest within an hour. There were 5 of them, moving through the trees with casual confidence. They followed the human tracks easily. This was what they had been born to do. This was their purpose. Ryan had prepared for this. He knew they could not win a straight fight. So he did not plan to fight straight. He had learned guerrilla tactics in the Marines. Hit and run, strike from ambush, make the enemy afraid. The Valth walked into a clearing. Suddenly the ground gave way beneath the lead warrior. It fell into a pit lined with sharpened stakes. The creature roared in pain and rage. The other Valth moved to help their companion. That was when the humans attacked. Rocks rained down from the trees. Ryan had organized teams on both sides of the clearing. They pelted the Valth with everything they had. Most bounced off the armored hide, but some found soft spots, eyes, joints, the gaps in the armor. One Valth charged at the trees. Claire Davis, who had been a competitive javelin thrower in college, stepped out and drove a sharpened pole straight through its knee joint. The creature fell hard. More humans swarmed it, stabbing with makeshift spears, crushing with heavy rocks. The Valth were shocked. Prey did not fight back. Prey ran. This was not how the hunt was supposed to go. They retreated, dragging their wounded with them. One Valth did not get up. It lay in the clearing, its blood staining the grass. The humans had killed their first hunter. Ryan looked at the body. then at his people. They were bruised, bleeding, and exhausted, but they were also smiling. They had done the impossible. They had fought back and won. "This is just the beginning," Ryan said. "They will come back with more warriors. We need to be ready." Ben was already examining the fallen Valth's equipment. The creature carried a weapon that looked like a combination of a spear and a gun. It was designed for hands with 3 fingers instead of 5, but Ben thought he could modify it. Lisa studied the body itself. The armor was impressive, but she could see the weak points now. The joints were vulnerable. The eyes were exposed. The throat had thinner plating. She made mental notes of everything. Back in the Valth command post, Commander Krell watched the recordings from his warriors' helmet cameras. He saw the ambush. He saw the human tactics. He saw his warrior fall. For the first time in his long life, Krell felt something he did not recognize. Later, he would understand it was concern. Right now, he just felt confused. Prey did not do this. Prey did not plan. Prey did not work together so effectively. He sent orders to his hunting parties. Be more careful. Watch for traps. Respect these humans. They were proving to be unusual prey. Krell did not yet understand the truth. The humans were not unusual prey. They were not prey at all. They were fellow predators from a world just as dangerous as the Valth homeworld. And predators do not go down easy. The hunt had begun, but the question of who was hunting whom was no longer clear. 2 weeks had passed since the hunt began. Commander Krell stared at the casualty reports in disbelief. 23 Valth warriors dead, 47 injured. This had never happened before. Never in the entire history of the great hunts had prey killed so many hunters. The human survivors had not just lasted longer than any previous species. They were winning. In the cave system, Ben Carter worked by firelight on his latest project. Around him lay pieces of Valth technology scavenged from fallen hunters. He had learned how their weapons worked through trial and error. Some of that error had nearly blown his hand off, but he was getting better at it. "How is it coming?" Lisa asked, crouching beside him. Ben held up a modified Valth rifle. He had reshaped the grip to fit human hands and adjusted the trigger mechanism. "It took me 3 days to figure out the power cells, but I think I have got it now. We have 5 working weapons. That is not many, but it is a start. Every advantage helps." "What about the collars?" Ben's expression darkened. "Still working on it. The technology is beyond anything I have seen before. One wrong move and it could kill whoever's wearing it. I need more time." Ryan Cooper entered the cave with his patrol team. They carried more Valth equipment and, more importantly, food. They had learned to hunt the native animals, turning the hunting preserve into their own supply source. "We hit another patrol 3 miles north," Ryan reported. "Killed 2, wounded 1. They are getting more cautious now. Moving in larger groups, wearing extra armor." "Good," Lisa said. "That means they are afraid." "They should be," Claire Davis added. She was teaching a group of teenagers how to set traps. The children had adapted to their new reality with frightening speed. They no longer cried. They no longer complained. They fought. Ryan gathered everyone for a meeting. In 2 weeks, their group had transformed from frightened colonists into a guerrilla force. They had learned to move silently through the forest. They had learned to kill. They had learned to survive. "We have a decision to make," Ryan said. "We can keep hiding and picking off hunting parties. Or we can go on the offensive." What do you mean?" George the farmer asked. He had lost his wife in the initial attack, but had become one of their best scouts. Lisa pulled out a map she had drawn of the area. "The Valth have a communications tower 15 miles east. They use it to broadcast the hunts across their empire. If we could capture it, we could send a message." "What kind of message?" "The kind that tells the entire Valth empire that humans are not prey," Ryan said. "The kind that makes them think twice before attacking our people again." Ben studied the map. "It will be heavily guarded. We would need a real plan, not just an ambush." "Then we make a real plan," Lisa said. "We have been reacting since this started. It is time we took control of the situation." They spent 3 days preparing. Lisa studied the Valth patrol schedules and found a pattern. Ben built explosive devices from Valth power cells and local materials. Ryan trained assault teams. Claire organized supply lines and fallback positions. The night before the assault, Ryan found Lisa sitting alone on a hillside overlooking the forest. She was writing in a notebook by starlight. "Cannot sleep?" he asked. Recording our observations, Lisa replied. If we do not make it, someone should know what happened here. Someone should know that we fought. Ryan sat beside her. We are going to make it. You know why? Because we are too stubborn to die. That is what makes humans dangerous. We do not know when to quit, Lisa smiled. The Valth evolved on a world where strength was everything. They became apex predators through physical dominance. But Earth was different. Our ancestors were not the biggest or strongest animals. We succeeded through intelligence, cooperation, and sheer determination. We invented tools. We mastered fire. We outlasted prey by tracking them until they collapsed from exhaustion. We are persistence predators, Ryan. And the Valth are about to learn what that means. The assault began at dawn. The communications tower stood in a fortified compound with 30 Valth warriors on guard. It should have been impossible to breach. But the humans did not attack from where the Valth expected. Ben's explosive devices went off simultaneously on the north and south walls. The Valth rushed to respond to the breaches. That was when the real attack came from the east. Ryan led 20 humans armed with captured Valth weapons. They moved fast, using the confusion to their advantage. The Valth were better warriors individually, but humans fought as a coordinated unit. They covered each other. They communicated. They adapted to the situation. Fire was the secret weapon. The Valth had never weaponized fire. Their homeworld was too wet, their evolution too focused on natural weapons. But humans had been using fire for hundreds of thousands of years. It was part of their DNA. Claire's team launched burning projectiles into the compound. The Valth panicked. Fire was primal fear for them, something they had no experience with. Warriors who could shrug off bullets fled from flames. The humans pressed their advantage. Lisa led a small team directly to the communications tower, while Ryan's group kept the Valth busy. They fought their way up the structure, clearing each level. At the top, Lisa found the broadcast controls. The system was alien, but she had watched the Valth use similar technology for 2 weeks. She understood the basics. Her fingers moved across the controls, accessing the main broadcast channel. The hunts were being watched across the Valth Empire. Millions of aliens tuned in to see their warriors chase and kill prey. It was their most popular entertainment. Today they were about to see something different. Lisa activated the camera. Her face appeared on screens across the Valth civilization. She was battered, exhausted, and covered in dirt and blood, but her eyes were fierce. I am Dr. Lisa Monroe of Earth, she said clearly. For 2 weeks you have hunted us like animals. You thought we were prey. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. Behind her, the sounds of fighting echoed. Ryan's voice shouted orders. Valth roared in pain and anger. Explosions shook the tower. We are human beings, Lisa continued. We come from a world where everything tried to kill us. We survived ice ages, predators, plagues, and each other. We are not the strongest species. We are not the fastest. But we are the most stubborn. We do not give up. We do not surrender. And we do not forget. She held up a Valth weapon. We have killed dozens of your warriors. We have learned to use your technology. We have turned your hunting ground into our territory. You thought you were the apex predators, but you made one mistake. You hunted the wrong species. Lisa leaned closer to the camera. Earth is coming for us, and when they arrive you will understand what it means to be prey. She cut the transmission. Below, the Valth were regrouping. There were too many of them. The humans would have to retreat soon, but they had accomplished their mission. The message had been sent. Ryan's team fought their way back to the extraction point. They lost 3 people in the withdrawal, but they made it to the forest. The Valth pursued but fell into the traps and ambushes the humans had prepared. That night the survivors celebrated their victory. They had struck a blow against the Valth Empire. They had proven that humans were not helpless victims. They had hope. Far above the planet, a Valth observer ship recorded everything. The footage was sent directly to the Valth High Council. The ruling body of the Empire watched Lisa's message in stunned silence. One council member spoke what they were all thinking. What have we awakened? Commander Krell stood before the council later that day. He had been recalled from Valdris Prime to explain the situation. His shame was visible. The humans are unlike any prey we have encountered, he admitted. They do not simply flee and hide. They study us, they plan. They coordinate their attacks with precision we have only seen in military forces. Worst of all, they are teaching each other. They adapt faster than we can respond. How many humans remain alive? A council member asked. 547. We have killed 253, but the cost has been 35 of our warriors dead and 78 wounded. These numbers are unacceptable. The council debated for hours. Some wanted to send more warriors. Others wanted to use orbital bombardment to eliminate the humans entirely. A few suggested the unthinkable, ending the hunt and releasing the survivors. While they argued, something was happening in deep space. The Earth Alliance Navy had received the distress signal from the horizon's edge. They had tracked the Valth ships to Valdris Prime, and they were coming with everything they had. On the planet below, Lisa sat with Ryan and Ben around a campfire. They had survived another day. They had sent their message. Now they just had to stay alive long enough for rescue to arrive. "Do you think anyone heard us?" Ben asked. "The whole Valth Empire heard us," Lisa said. "The question is whether Earth heard us too." Ryan looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, beyond the atmosphere, beyond the alien constellations, was home, was Earth, was hope. "They heard us," he said with certainty, "and they are coming." He was right. The Earth Alliance Navy destroyer Valiant dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Valdris system. Captain Nina Brooks stood on the bridge, studying the tactical display with cold fury. She had seen the footage from the horizon's edge. She had read Captain Morrison's report, and she had watched the broadcast of Lisa Monroe's defiant message to the Valth Empire. "Status report," she ordered. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Dan Rodriguez, worked quickly at his console. "Multiple Valth vessels in orbit around the fourth planet. Looks like a mix of warships and observation platforms. They are moving to intercept us now. Good, let them come. Communications. Send a message to the Valth fleet. Tell them they have one chance to return our people unharmed. If they refuse, we will take them back by force." The Valth response came quickly. It was Commander Krell's voice, full of contempt. "You dare threaten the Valth Empire? We are the apex predators of this galaxy. Your people are our prey. You have no power here." Nina's expression did not change. "Then I guess we do this the hard way. All ships engage at will. The Valiant was not alone." Behind it came a full battle group. 5 destroyers, 3 cruisers, and a carrier with 2 squadrons of fighters. Earth had sent a clear message of its own. Nobody hunts humans and lives to boast about it. The Valth fleet moved to intercept with confidence. They outnumbered the human ships, and their vessels were massive. They had been the dominant military power in this region of space for millennia. They expected an easy victory. The space battle began at extreme range. The Valth fired first, their weapons designed to disable and capture rather than destroy. They wanted the human ships intact for study. It was a mistake. Human weapons were built for war, real war. Not hunting games or displays of dominance, but total destruction of the enemy. Missiles streaked across the void. Railguns fired projectiles at incredible speeds. Energy weapons cut through vacuum like scalpels. The first Valth warship exploded in a ball of fire. The second took critical damage and spun out of control. The third tried to retreat but was caught by a spread of torpedoes. Within 5 minutes, the Valth fleet was in chaos. Dan Rodriguez led his fighter squadron into the battle. The human fighters were smaller and faster than anything the Valth had encountered. They swarmed the alien capital ships like angry wasps, striking at weapon systems and engines, then darting away before return fire could hit them. "This is Wolf Leader to all wings," Dan called over the combat channel. "Focus on their command ship. Take out their ability to coordinate and they will fall apart." The fighters concentrated their attack on the largest Valth vessel. It was a command carrier, the floating headquarters for Commander Krell. Its shields were strong, but the pilots found weak points. They hit the same spots repeatedly, overwhelming the defenses. Inside the Valth command ship, Krell watched his fleet being torn apart. This was impossible. The Valth had superior numbers and firepower, but the humans fought with a ferocity and skill that caught them completely off guard. Every human ship moved with purpose. Every attack was coordinated. They fought like they had been doing this for centuries. In a way, they had. Humans had been waging war against each other since the Stone Age. They had refined the art of killing over thousands of years of constant conflict. The Valth hunted prey. Humans hunted each other. The difference was everything. "Sir, we are taking heavy damage," Krell's tactical officer reported. "All forward shields are down. Hull breaches on multiple decks. Weapons systems failing." Krell felt something he had never experienced before. Not concern this time. Pure simple fear. "Order the fleet to withdraw. We cannot win this battle." But it was too late for most of his ships. The human forces pressed their advantage ruthlessly. They gave no quarter, accepted no surrender. Within an hour, the Valth fleet was destroyed or fleeing. The sky above Valdris Prime belonged to Earth. On the planet's surface, the human survivors heard the explosions in orbit. They saw the flashes of light in the daytime sky. Lisa knew immediately what it meant. "They are here," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. "Earth is here." Ryan grabbed a Valth communicator they had captured and tuned it to a human frequency. "This is Ryan Cooper, survivor of the Horizon's Edge. Any Earth Alliance ships in the area, please respond." Static filled the air for a moment. Then a woman's voice came through, clear and strong. "This is Captain Nina Brooks of the Valiant. We read you, Cooper. Hold your position. Marines are on the way." The survivors cheered. Some cried. Others just sat down, overwhelmed by relief. They had survived. They had fought against impossible odds, and they had survived. But the battle was not over yet. Commander Krell, watching his fleet destroyed from the ground, made a decision. If he could not have victory, he would have vengeance. He gathered every available warrior on the planet, nearly 200 of the Valth's elite hunters. "The humans on this world embarrassed us," Krell told his warriors. "They made us look weak before the entire Empire. Before the Earthships can extract them, we will end this. We will kill every last one of them." The Valth force moved through the forest like a tidal wave of death. They abandoned all pretense of the hunt. This was extermination. They tracked the human survivors to their cave system and surrounded it. Ryan saw them coming. "Everyone inside. Seal the entrances. This is going to be bad." Lisa helped Ben set up the Valth weapons they had collected. Claire got the children and elderly into the deepest chambers. George and the other scouts took defensive positions. They had maybe 20 working weapons against 200 Valth warriors. The odds were terrible. Krell himself led the assault. He entered the cave system at the head of his warriors, fully armored and carrying his best weapons. This time there would be no clever traps, no ambushes, no human tricks. Just overwhelming force. The fighting was brutal. The Valth pushed forward through the narrow tunnels. Humans fell back, making them pay for every foot of ground. Ben detonated explosives that brought down sections of the cave. But the Valth just found other routes. Claire's trap team slowed them but could not stop them. Ryan fought at the front, his captured Valth weapon firing until it overheated. When it failed, he grabbed a fallen warrior's spear. He was not as strong as the Valth, not as fast, not as tough. But he was angry, and anger made humans dangerous. Commander Krell broke through the defensive line and came face to face with Ryan. The Valth commander stood nearly twice as tall, with armor like a tank and claws like swords. Ryan was bleeding from a dozen wounds, exhausted, barely able to stand. "You fought well, human," Krell said. "But the prey always falls to the predator in the end." Ryan smiled through his pain. "You still do not get it, do you? We are not prey." "We never were." He pressed a detonator. Ben had rigged the entire cave system with explosives as a last resort. The charges went off simultaneously. The roof began to collapse. Rock and debris rained down. Ryan dove backward as tons of stone fell where he had been standing. Krell tried to follow but was caught in the cave-in. The massive Valth warrior disappeared under the rubble. His roar of rage cut short. The surviving humans retreated deeper into the caves as more explosives went off behind them. They sealed themselves in the deepest chamber and waited. Either rescue would come or they would die here. But they would not die as prey. They would die as humans fighting to the last breath. Above ground, Earth Alliance Marines were landing. Drop pods slammed into the forest at supersonic speeds. Armored soldiers poured out, weapons ready. They were the best soldiers humanity had to offer, and they were coming for their people. The Marines swept through the Valth positions like a storm. These were not frightened colonists or injured civilians. These were professional warriors trained and equipped for maximum lethality. The Valth suddenly understood what it meant to face humans who were prepared for war. A Marine captain named Steve Parker led the assault on the cave system. His troops cleared the tunnels methodically, killing any Valth they encountered. They found the collapsed section and started digging. Deep in the sealed chamber, the survivors heard the sounds of digging. Then they heard something that made them weep with joy. A human voice calling through the rock. "This is the Earth Alliance Marines. Is anyone alive in there?" Ryan pressed against the rubble. 547 of us. "We are alive. Hold tight. We are getting you out." It took 3 hours to clear the collapsed tunnel. When the Marines finally broke through, They found the survivors armed and ready to fight. They had not known if the diggers were friend or foe. Even in their darkest moment, they had been prepared to battle. Captain Parker stared at the colonists in amazement. They were battered, bloody, and dressed in makeshift armor. They carried Valth weapons and wore the equipment of fallen hunters. They looked more like veterans of a long war than civilian colonists. "Are you the people from the horizon's edge?" he asked. Ryan nodded. "What is left of us?" "My God, Command said you were civilians. You look like soldiers." "We had to learn fast," Lisa said. The Valth were good teachers. The Marines escorted the survivors to the landing zone. Ships were waiting to take them to safety. As they boarded, Lisa looked back at the forest one last time. Somewhere in those trees lay the bodies of 253 humans who had not made it. They deserved to be remembered. The destruction of Valdris Prime was visible from orbit. Earth Alliance ships bombarded the hunting preserve from space, turning it into a burning wasteland. Every Valth installation was destroyed. Every weapon was reduced to ash. The message was clear and brutal. You do not hunt humans and walk away. Admiral Kate Foster commanded the operation from her flagship. She was a career officer with 30 years of experience, and she understood the importance of overwhelming response. The galaxy needed to see what happened when someone attacked Earth's people. "Target the command center," she ordered. "I want nothing left standing." The orbital bombardment lasted 3 hours. When it was over, Valdris Prime, the most famous hunting ground in the Valth Empire, was gone. Future generations would only know it as a cautionary tale. News of the defeat spread through Valth space like wildfire. For 10,000 years, the Valth had been the dominant predators of their region. They had never known defeat. They had never felt fear. Now they felt both. The Valth High Council met in emergency session. The chamber was filled with the Empire's most powerful leaders. They had watched the space battle. They had seen their fleet destroyed. They had witnessed the bombardment of their sacred hunting ground. And they did not know what to do. "The humans destroyed an entire fleet," one council member said, his voice shaking. "They killed hundreds of our finest warriors. They turned Valdris Prime into a graveyard. How is this possible? They are prey. They are weak." An older council member, scarred from many hunts, spoke quietly. "Perhaps they were never prey at all. Perhaps we made a terrible mistake." The debate raged for days. Some Valth leaders wanted total war against humanity. They saw the defeat as an insult that had to be avenged. Others recognized the truth. They could not win this war. Humans did not fight like prey. They fought like predators defending their territory. The Valth Empire had conquered through physical dominance. They were stronger, faster, and better armed than most species. But humans had something different. They had technology born from centuries of innovation. They had tactics developed through thousands of years of warfare. Most importantly, they had the will to fight with absolute brutality when threatened. Earth Alliance established a quarantine zone around Valth space. Any ship that crossed the boundary without permission would be destroyed without warning. The Valth, who had ruled their corner of the galaxy through fear, now lived in fear themselves. Back on Earth, the survivors of Valdris Prime were treated as heroes. They arrived home to crowds of millions. People wanted to hear their stories, to understand how they had survived against impossible odds. Dr. Lisa Monroe was offered positions at every major research institution on Earth. She chose to work for Earth Alliance intelligence, analyzing alien species and determining potential threats. Her experience on Valdris Prime had taught her that the galaxy was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. She published a detailed report on the Valth. It became required reading in every military academy and diplomatic service. Her conclusion was simple. The Valth had evolved on a world where physical strength was everything. They had never needed to develop advanced technology or complex strategies. When they encountered a species that could match them intellectually, they had no response. Ben Carter joined Earth Alliance Navy Research and Development. His improvised modifications to Valth weapons became the foundation for a new generation of human military equipment. He was promoted to senior engineer and given his own research team. He never forgot the 3 weeks on Valdris Prime. Every weapon he designed, every system he improved, was built with one goal in mind: make sure humans would never be helpless again. Ryan Cooper was offered a commission as an officer in the Earth Alliance Marines. He accepted and returned to active duty. His tactics and strategies from Valdris Prime were studied and incorporated into Marine training programs. He taught new recruits about the importance of adaptability, resourcefulness, and never giving up. His motto became famous throughout the military. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the fastest, but we are the most stubborn. And that is enough. Claire Davis went back to teaching, but she was different now. She had killed to protect her students. She had fought alongside them in a war for survival. She taught her new classes not just academic subjects, but practical skills. How to survive, how to think clearly under pressure, how to work as a team. Many of the children who survived Valdris Prime grew up to join Earth's defense forces. They had learned young that the galaxy was not safe. They had learned that sometimes you have to fight. Captain Jake Morrison returned to commanding colony ships. But now every civilian vessel traveled with military escorts. The Horizon's Edge was rebuilt and renamed the Horizon's Defiance. Morrison took it on its first voyage to Kepler 442b, finally completing the mission that had been interrupted. On the day they reached the colony world, Morrison held a memorial service for those who had died. 253 names were read aloud. Each one represented a life cut short, a dream destroyed, a family broken. But those deaths had not been meaningless. The sacrifice of those people had taught humanity a crucial lesson. They were not alone in the galaxy, and not every species they met would be friendly. The survivors, who became known as the Valdris 547, were honored with a monument on Earth. It stood in Geneva, outside the Earth Alliance headquarters. The names of all who had been captured were inscribed in stone. Those who died were marked with a star. Those who survived were marked with a flame. The inscription at the base read simply, "We are not prey. We are human, and we survive." Years passed. The Valth Empire slowly collapsed. Their entire civilization had been built on the concept that they were the ultimate predators. When that belief was shattered, their society could not adapt. Some Valth clans sought peace with humanity, acknowledging them as equals. These groups were welcomed into the galactic community. Other Valth clans retreated into isolation, refusing to accept their defeat. They became shadows of their former selves, clinging to past glory while the galaxy moved on without them. The galaxy learned a valuable lesson from the Valdris incident. Humanity was not the largest civilization. They were not the oldest or the most technologically advanced. But they were dangerous in a way few species understood. They were survivors from a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. And they had the memory of every battle, every struggle, every triumph coded into their very nature. 10 years after Valdris Prime, Lisa Monroe gave a lecture at the Interstellar Relations Institute. The audience included diplomats, military officers, and scientists from a dozen different species. She spoke about what made humans different. The Valth made one fundamental mistake, she explained. They assumed that being an apex predator was about physical dominance. Claws, armor, natural weapons. But that is not what makes a species truly dangerous. She brought up an image on the screen. It showed early humans on Earth, small and weak compared to the predators around them. Our ancestors were not the biggest or strongest creatures on our world. They did not have claws or fangs, but they had something better. They had brains. They made tools. They worked together. They refused to give up. Another image appeared, showing the Valdris 547 fighting back against their captors. When the Valth hunted us, they expected us to run and hide like every other prey species. But we are not prey. We never were. We are predators who learned to hunt with our minds instead of our bodies, and that makes us far more dangerous than any creature with claws. The lecture ended with thunderous applause, but Lisa knew the real lesson would take generations to truly sink in. The galaxy was full of strong species, fast species, species with natural weapons and defenses, but only humans had spent their entire evolutionary history learning to survive against creatures stronger, faster, and better armed than themselves. Back on Earth, a young girl named Holly visited the Valdris 547 monument with her father. She was 8 years old, curious about everything. She read the names on the monument, tracing the letters with her finger. "Dad, why did those aliens hunt people?" she asked. Her father knelt beside her. He had served in the Earth Alliance Navy during the Valdris War. He had seen things he never wanted his daughter to experience. "They thought we were weak," he explained. "They looked at us and saw soft skin, no claws, no armor. They thought that made us prey." "But we are not prey," Holly said, reading the inscription. "No, we are not. We are human. That means we are smart enough to learn, strong enough to fight, and stubborn enough to never give up. The aliens learned that lesson too late. Holly looked up at the monument at all those names. Did they win? Her father thought about that question. The people on that monument had lost so much. Many had died. All had been scarred. But they had also done something incredible. They had faced the most feared predators in the galaxy and proven that humans could not be hunted. Yes, he finally said. They won. They survived when nobody thought they could. They fought back when everyone expected them to die. They showed the entire galaxy what humanity is capable of. That is the greatest victory of all. They stood in silence for a moment, father and daughter looking at the monument. Around them, the city of Geneva buzzed with life. Humans going about their daily business,